Published, 1935 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 13th of May 2018. Updated, 1950 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 13th of May 2018. Only one man came close to landing a glove on Webb Simpson at the Players' Championship on Sunday, and even that shot from Tiger Woods was the merest of glancing blows. Leading from halfway is supposed to be a difficult art, but it is a measure of how impressive the 32-year-old American played over the weekend that Simpson made it look straightforward. 5 in front after 36 holes and 7 ahead going into the final round, he could afford to put his approach in the water at the 18th and still win by 4 strokes following a 73. Webb Simpson claimed a 4-shot victory at the Players' Championship after a dominant week. Simpson embraces his caddy Paul Tessery after sinking the putt that crowned him champion. Simpson celebrates with his wife Taylor on the 18th green after sealing the victory. Simpson and his wife Taylor Dowd Simpson walked to the trophy presentation at Sawgrass. It meant he placed this flagship title on the PGA Tour next to the U.S. Open trophy he won in 2012 and earned a near $2 million £1.5 million first prize. A costly finish of 3 drop shots in the last 5 holes, including a ball in the water at the 17th, meant Woods didn't even finish in the top 10. That doesn't begin to tell the story of his immense contribution, for surely never before in Players' history has a man with so little chance of winning created so much excitement. For 13 holes at least, Woods was on the march once more, following up his wonderful 65 on Saturday with another spellbinding exhibition. Woods began the final round still 11 shots behind the runaway leader, and who makes up that sort of deficit? By the time the 42-year-old stood on the 13th tee, having picked up 6 shots with some dazzling artistry and bewitching putting, the deficit had shrunk to just 4. The noise Woods was generating was off the charts, and one question hung in the Florida air: he couldn't do it, could he? Leading from halfway is supposed to be a difficult art, but Simpson eased to a stunning win. It meant he placed this flagship title on the PGA Tour next to the U.S. Open trophy from 2012. He could afford to put his approach in the water at the 18th and still win by 4 strokes. Tied 68th when he began his 3rd round early on Saturday morning, Woods had moved up to tied 2nd before all the air was let out of the proceedings. The one thing he couldn't afford was a mistake, and he was unfortunate in suffering one at the 14th, where his par putt lipped out. It was as if the spell had been broken. No birdie at the par 5 16th, and then, forced to gamble recklessly, came that poor tee shot to the celebrated 17th. Bigger picture, though, Woods drove the ball beautifully, and for 2/3 of the round his putting had the velvet touch of old. Surprised this comeback, delivering something truly momentous this summer. For a while, it was really special out there, conceded Woods. God, I hit it good today, and yet I still only ended up with a 69. Woods began the final round still 11 shots behind the runaway leader, but that was cut to 4. The noise Woods was generating was off the charts as his chances of victory began to shorten. Woods drove beautifully, and for 2/3 of the round his putting had the velvet touch of old. No player in PGA Tour history has ever lost a 7-shot lead with a round to play, and Simpson did a fine job in making sure he didn't become the first. He was one of the principal victims when the anchored putting stroke was outlawed, but he's found a solution now with the claw method. Given he hadn't won anywhere for 5 years, it would have been surprising if Simpson hadn't been tense, and bogeys at the 8th and 10th suggested as much. But he responded admirably with real determination to hang on for a worthy success. Not that the bulk of another sellout 50,000 crowd were watching, of course. 4 groups in front was Woods. This was another big test that he passed. Could he follow up his lowest scoring round for 5 years with another stellar show, only this time on Sunday afternoon? He certainly answered that one, even if tied 11th place didn't reflect it. No player in PGA Tour history has ever lost a 7-shot lead with a round to play, and Simpson did a fine job in making sure he wasn't the first. The only European in the top 10 was Tommy Fleetwood, who finished tied for 7th place. A level par 72 from Dustin Johnson meant Justin Thomas has done enough to be world number 1. The only European in the top 10 was Tommy Fleetwood, who finished with a 68 for tied 7th place. Alongside Woods was Sawgrass specialist Ian Poulter, who shot 69. The day's subplot was whether Dustin Johnson could hold on to the world number 1 spot in the face of a closing round of 66 from world number 2, Justin Thomas. A level par 72 meant that when the latest rankings are released on Monday morning, they are likely to show that Thomas has done enough. A closing round of 66 featuring 6 birdies in a row at one point saw Justin Rose make a decent start in his own month-long quest to reach the summit. 2 of Rose's next 3 starts are at events he has won in the past. "I do think the next month offers a real opportunity," he said. U.S. Open champion Brooks Koepka became only the second man to register an albatross at the par 5 16th, the obvious highlight in a course record equaling 63 that hinted broadly at the exciting play to come.